It was late in the night when Alex returned to his small research station on the edge of the newly explored planet, Zethara 7. The sky was a deep violet, streaked with the glow of twin moons, casting strange shadows over the rugged terrain outside. The station was quiet, silent except for the hum of life support systems, and the occasional creak of metal as it expanded and contracted in the cold night. Alex liked the quiet. It gave him time to think, to catalog the day's discoveries, and sometimes, just to feel like he was alone in the vast emptiness of space. But tonight, he wasn't alone. As he stepped through the entrance, he noticed something unusual. The door to his quarters was slightly ajar. That shouldn't have happened. Alex was meticulous about security. No one could access his room without going through the main airlock and security checks. He frowned, gripping his utility knife instinctively as he approached. "Hello," he called softly, his voice echoing in the empty corridor. There was no answer. Only silence, deep and unsettling, filled the station. He pushed the door fully open and froze. Sitting in the center of his quarters was a figure he had never seen before. She was humanoid in shape, but clearly not human. Her skin shimmered faintly in the dim light, reflecting colors like liquid silver. Her eyes were large and glowing, filled with curiosity and intelligence. She was unarmed, unthreatening in posture, yet there was a boldness in the way she looked at him, as if she had every right to be there. Alex's first instinct was to back away, to retreat and call for security. But another part of him, a part that had driven him across galaxies in search of the unknown, took over. He had seen many strange creatures on his travels, but never one so confident, so unafraid. "You can talk," he asked cautiously, lowering his knife but keeping his stance defensive. The being tilted her head slightly, as if amused by his question. Then, in perfect English, her voice soft but resonant, she said, "I can, and I have something to show you." Before he could respond, she moved with astonishing grace and speed, approaching the holographic console at the far side of his room. With a touch, the console flickered to life, displaying images and readings that Alex didn't recognize immediately. They were of the planet outside, the unusual energy readings from beneath its surface, and strange geometric formations he had never documented. "This planet," she said, her voice echoing slightly in the quiet room, "is not as empty as your records suggest. There is life below, and it is awakening. You must come with me if you want to survive." Alex stared at the display, his mind racing. He had been sent to this planet to conduct surveys and catalog mineral and energy resources, but this was something else entirely. Something beyond any mission briefing he had received. "Why me?" he asked, his voice barely more than a whisper. "Why not your own kind?" She paused, looking at him with those glowing eyes, and for a moment there was something almost human in her expression, consideration, maybe even respect. "Because you are human," she said simply, "and your kinda adapts in ways we cannot. You may be our only hope." Alex felt a shiver run down his spine. Humans were always considered fragile by the interstellar community, physical weaknesses, emotional unpredictability. But here she was, saying his adaptability might be the key to survival. "What do you mean, hope?" he asked, stepping closer. "Survival from what?" Her gaze drifted toward the window, toward the purple-tinged night sky. "From them," she said. "The ones who slumber beneath the surface. They are ancient. They have been waiting, and now they wake. If they reach the surface, nothing will remain untouched." Alex's mind raced. He had read about similar planetary threats in historical records, the kind of deep, hidden dangers that civilizations often ignored until it was too late. But he had never expected to encounter one firsthand. And now here she was, an alien, bold, fearless, and apparently trusting him with information that could save or doom the entire station. "Okay," he said finally, trying to steady his breathing. "Let's assume you're right. What do we do?" She turned to him, her expression unreadable but her posture commanding. "First, we leave. The main station is not safe. The deeper caverns hold the answers, but we cannot go together openly. Humans and my kind are noticed. You must learn to follow my ways. We move quietly. We move fast. Alex hesitated, looking back toward the main lab. He had left his tools, his research, even the small comforts of his quarters. But he understood instinctively that staying meant risk. Staying meant waiting for something he could neither fight nor predict. His survival instincts overrode his caution. "I'm coming," he said. The alien's lips curved into a faint smile, almost imperceptible. "Good," she said. "Follow me." Without another word, she moved toward the ventilation hatch at the corner of his room. To Alex it seemed impossibly small, but she slipped through easily, fluid as water. Alex glanced at the hatch, then back at her. "I don't fit," he muttered, half to himself. "You adapt," she replied simply, and with that she demonstrated. Using a device from her wrist, a holographic shimmer enveloped him, compressing and reshaping his form just enough to pass through the narrow opening. Alex's stomach lurched as he squeezed into the hatch, the walls pressing tightly against him, but he trusted her. When they emerged on the other side, it was a vast underground network of tunnels, glowing with bioluminescent fungi and strange crystalline structures. The air was thick but breathable, and the faint hum of energy resonated through the walls. "This place," Alex whispered. "I never knew this existed. The surface hides nothing," she said, "but below everything sleeps, until now." A sudden tremor shook the tunnel, dust falling from the ceiling. Alex stumbled, grabbing onto a crystalline outcrop for support. The alien didn't flinch. Instead, she moved toward the deeper darkness, her glow faint but steady. "They are near," she said. "We must hurry. Follow me and do not stray." As they moved, Alex felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. He was far from the safety of his station, deeper into alien territory than any human had been. And yet, there was a strange thrill in knowing he was not helpless. He had been chosen in some inexplicable way to face this danger alongside a being whose courage matched, or even surpassed, his own. The tunnels twisted and turned, revealing glimpses of the unknown, chambers filled with pulsating energy, walls etched with symbols that seemed alive, and occasional shadowy figures moving just beyond sight. Alex's heart pounded, but he didn't hesitate. He followed step by step, learning to move with silence, to trust in instincts he had never thought he possessed. Finally, they reached a vast cavern, its ceiling lost in darkness. In the center, a massive structure pulsed with an eerie light, and Alex realized this was the source of the energy readings he had seen earlier. The alien paused at the edge, turning to him. "This is it," she said. "Here you will understand the stakes. Here you will see why humans are sometimes the strongest creatures in the galaxy, not because of power, not because of numbers, but because of ingenuity, courage, and the will to act when others hesitate." Alex swallowed hard, looking at the glowing structure. It seemed alive, almost breathing, and he felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He had no weapons, no backup, only himself and the alien guide at his side. And yet he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: hope. "Then let's get to work," he said, his voice firm. The alien nodded, her eyes reflecting pride, and together they stepped toward the unknown, ready to face whatever the planet had been hiding for millennia. The cavern stretched endlessly before Alex, glowing faintly with the pulses of energy from the massive structure at its center. He could feel it in his bones, a vibration that resonated through the floor, the walls, even the air itself. The alien beside him, who had introduced herself as Lyra, moved forward with calm precision, every step deliberate, every motion fluid and confident. "This place is huge," Alex whispered, his voice almost lost amid the cavern's hum. "How can anything live down here?" Lyra glanced at him, her glowing eyes reflecting the strange lights. "Everything you see has a purpose. Even the crystals, the fungi, the shadows, they all play a role in keeping balance. but the balance is breaking. That is why I brought you here. You will help restore it." Alex swallowed. He was used to danger, used to exploring alien worlds, but this felt alive in a way he had never experienced. The cavern wasn't just a space. It was a living entity, as if the planet itself was breathing, watching, judging. They moved cautiously, winding around massive crystalline pillars that stretched toward darkness above. The glow from the walls cast strange reflections, making shadows dance and flicker. At times, Alex thought he saw movement in the shadows, as if something was following them. "What's that?" he asked, nodding toward a flicker of motion near a cluster of crystals. Lyra's gaze sharpened. "Patience, you will see soon enough." They approached a ridge overlooking a lower chamber. The structure they had come to investigate dominated the center, a massive, circular formation of metal and stone that pulsed rhythmically with light. Around it, the shadows were moving, dark, serpentine shapes that glimmered faintly as if coated in liquid shadow. Alex's heart raced. "Are those creatures?" Lyra nodded. "They are the guardians of the core. They sense intruders, but they do not attack unless provoked. We must be careful. Your presence is unusual to them. They are not used to humans." Alex studied the guardians. They were enormous, far larger than any human or alien he had encountered. Their movements were quick and precise, like liquid darkness flowing across the cavern floor. But he noticed something odd. When Lyra moved closer, they seemed to pause, hesitant. "Why aren't they attacking you?" Alex asked. "Because they recognize me as one of the planet's allies," Lyra explained. "And they can feel your intent. If you show fear, hesitation, or aggression, they will respond. But if you remain calm and deliberate, they may allow you to pass. Humans are unpredictable. That is your advantage." Alex felt a surge of pride and tension at the same time. Humans were fragile in many ways, but unpredictable. That unpredictability could be a weapon. He took a deep breath, focusing on controlling his fear. Lyra extended a hand toward the edge of the ridge. "Follow me. Step lightly. Move as I do." Alex mimicked her movements, careful not to make a sound. The ground was uneven, covered with crystals that could shatter and trigger vibrations. Each step was a test of patience and nerve. Slowly, they descended toward the chamber floor. The guardians watched but did not approach. Alex realized that their presence was more than physical. They seemed to sense intentions, emotions, and the determination of those who entered. He felt the weight of that awareness pressing on him, like a force he could not see but could feel in every fiber of his being. Finally, they reached the chamber floor where the guardians circled the pulsing structure. Lyra gestured toward it. "This is the core of the planet's energy. It has been dormant for centuries, but something has awakened it, something dangerous." Alex stepped closer, examining the structure. The light pulsed in a rhythm that seemed almost like a heartbeat. He could feel the energy radiating from it, powerful but contained. The guardians moved in patterns, almost as if they were performing a ritual to stabilize the core. "What caused it to wake?" Alex asked. Lyra's expression darkened. "A disturbance in the planet's energy field, an outside influence. Something alien has arrived and is trying to harness the core's power. If they succeed, the planet's balance will collapse and life above and below will be destroyed." Alex's mind raced. He had encountered hostile forces before, but never on this scale. The survival of an entire planet and possibly nearby colonies depended on what they did next. "Then we stop them," he said, his voice firm. Lyra nodded approvingly. "Yes, but you must understand, direct confrontation will fail. The core's guardians are not weapons, they are protectors. We must find a way to work with them, to influence them, to guide them against the true threat." Alex looked around the chamber, noticing details he had missed at first. Tiny runes etched into the crystalline pillars, faint energy trails running along the floor, patterns in the light that shifted like a language waiting to be read. "Maybe there's a way to communicate," he said, "a pattern they'll understand, Something logical, human logic combined with your presence. Lyra smiled faintly. Exactly. That is why I chose you. Your mind is capable of reasoning beyond instinct, yet still unpredictable enough to surprise them. You will help me. They spent hours studying the chamber, observing the Guardian's movements, noting the rhythm of the core's pulses. Alex sketched diagrams on a portable holopad, testing sequences of lights and sounds to see if the Guardians would respond. Each attempt carried risk. Any wrong move could provoke them into an attack. Finally, after what felt like days compressed into hours, Alex noticed a correlation. The Guardian's movements shifted slightly when he tapped a pattern that matched the pulsing of the core. He showed Lyra. Yes, she said, eyes glowing brighter. You have found the resonance. If we amplify it, the Guardians will recognize us as allies, and we can direct them against the intruders. Alex felt a surge of excitement. This was human ingenuity at work, an unpredictable solution to a problem that had existed for centuries. But before he could celebrate, the ground trembled violently. The intruders had arrived. Dark shapes fell from the upper tunnels, moving with terrifying speed toward the chamber floor. Their forms were twisted and unnatural, like they had been warped by energy itself. The Guardians hissed and circled faster, forming a barrier around the core. Alex and Lyra braced themselves. This is it, Lyra said. You must act now. Alex nodded, heart pounding. He tapped the resonance sequence again, adjusting it slightly to match the intruder's movement. The Guardians responded immediately, shifting their positions, creating walls of light and energy that slowed the intruder's advance. The intruder struck, waves of force colliding with the Guardian's defenses. Alex felt the tremor beneath his feet, heard the crashing of energy and stone. Yet through it all, the Guardians held, adapting to his patterns, responding to his logic. This is incredible, Alex shouted over the noise. They're listening. Lyra's smile widened. They always listen. They just need guidance, and you, human, can provide it. As the battle intensified, Alex realized that fear or hesitation would be fatal. He focused entirely on the sequence, adjusting timing, reading movement, predicting attacks. It was a mental and physical challenge unlike anything he had faced. And yet, with every successful adjustment, the Guardians' confidence grew. The intruders were formidable, but they underestimated the combination of human creativity and alien instinct. Slowly, step by step, the Guardians began to push them back, corral them toward the outer tunnels. Alex and Lyra moved as one, a synchronized team guiding both Guardian and intruder, their actions perfectly aligned. After what seemed like an eternity, the intruders finally retreated, slipping back into the darkness from which they came. The Guardians resumed their ritual, pulsing light to stabilize the core. The cavern fell silent once more, the energy returning to its natural rhythm. Alex collapsed against a crystal pillar, exhausted but exhilarated. He looked at Lyra, who stood calmly, eyes still glowing. You did well, she said. Not many humans could have achieved this. You have proven the strength of your kind, adaptable, courageous, inventive. Alex let out a shaky laugh. I didn't do it alone. You guided me, taught me how to think like this. Lyra's expression softened. Yes, but it is humans who surprise. You see possibilities we cannot. That is why you are valuable, why your species endures. Alex took a deep breath, looking around the glowing cavern. He realized that the challenge was far from over. The intruders would return, and the planet's secrets were still largely unknown. But for the first time since arriving on Zethara 7, he felt a surge of confidence. Humans could adapt, humans could think, and humans could lead when no one else could. He smiled faintly. Then we prepare for the next wave, he said. Lyra nodded. Yes, and next time we will be ready. The cavern had quieted, but Alex knew it was a temporary peace. The intruders had retreated, but they would return. The pulsing light of the core filled the space, casting long shadows across the walls and making the crystal pillars shimmer like frozen fire. Alex wiped sweat from his forehead and flexed his hands. His muscles ached from crouching, climbing, and running in the uneven terrain, but his mind buzzed with anticipation. Lyra stood beside him, calm as always, her glow steady and reassuring. "The intruders are clever," she said, "but they underestimate humans. And now you have proven what we could only hope for, that with your kind the Guardians can be guided." Alex nodded. "Then we strike before they regroup. We can't just defend, we have to take the fight to them." Lyra's eyes widened slightly at his confidence, a flicker of approval crossing her features. "Exactly. But first, we must understand the core completely. It is not just a source of energy, it is the heart of the planet. If the intruders gain control of it, they will command everything that lives above and below." Alex studied the pulsing structure. He had seen many forms of alien technology, but nothing like this. It was alive in a way, and yet it obeyed patterns, sequences, and rhythms. He traced the glowing runes etched into the crystal pillars, noting the resonance between them and the core. "I think I understand now," he said. "It's like a language or a code. If we can speak it, maybe we can amplify the Guardian's power." Lyra tilted her head. "Go on." Alex took a deep breath. "The pulse isn't random. It follows a repeating pattern. If we create a counter-pattern, one that aligns with the core but also disrupts the intruders' interference, the Guardians will act with full force. They will become more than defenders, they will become a weapon against the intruders." Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. "Yes, that is exactly what we need, but you must act quickly. I can guide, but the execution must be human. Your kind surprises even us." Together they worked to construct the pattern. Alex used his holopad to map the sequences, watching the pulse, adjusting and testing small shifts. The Guardians moved in response, learning his signals. Alex realized that he had become part of the system, his mind connecting with the core, the Guardians, and the planet itself. He felt exhilarated. Humans were often underestimated, and yet here he was, leading an alien defense system against an unimaginable threat. Hours passed. The pulse of the core and the Guardians' movement became synchronized with Alex's calculations. He glanced at Lyra, who nodded. "It is ready. Are you prepared?" Alex swallowed hard. "As ready as I'll ever be." They moved toward the deeper tunnels, where the intruders had retreated. The air grew warmer and heavier, vibrating with the energy of hidden machinery and alien presence. Shadows flickered along the walls, and Alex felt the same tension he had felt earlier, only stronger. This was not just a fight. It was a test of human adaptability, courage, and ingenuity. Suddenly, the intruders attacked. Waves of dark energy surged toward them, twisting the air and shaking the tunnels. Alex and Lyra leapt into action, using the Guardian's guidance to avoid the blasts. He realized the intruders were not only strong, they were intelligent, adapting to the Guardian's defenses. "Remember the pattern," Lyra shouted. "Feed it into the core. The Guardians will respond." Alex concentrated, running calculations in his head while dodging energy strikes. He tapped sequences into his holopad, matching the core's pulse to the Guardians' movements. The Guardians responded instantly, moving with precision and force. They struck the intruders, pushing them back with waves of energy that Alex could feel through the floor. The battle was intense. The intruders struck with everything they had, yet the Guardians, guided by human logic and creativity, adapted faster. Alex realized that humans had a unique strength, the ability to innovate in unpredictable situations, to think outside instinct, and to turn chaos into opportunity. Lyra moved beside him, directing the Guardians with subtle gestures. Together, human and alien formed a seamless team, each enhancing the other's abilities. The intruders faltered, surprised by the speed and coordination. Alex seized the moment, adjusting the pulse to create a resonance that amplified the Guardian's power tenfold. Energy erupted from the core, washing over the intruders and the tunnel in a wave of light. The intruders screamed, retreating into the shadows, unable to withstand the force. The Guardians surrounded them, corralling them deeper into the tunnels where they could no longer threaten the core. Finally, silence returned. The core's pulse slowed to its natural rhythm, and the Guardians resumed their ritual, stabilizing the cavern. Alex dropped to his knees, exhausted but triumphant. He looked at Lyra, who stood calmly, though her eyes reflected pride and amazement. "You did it," she said softly. "Humans have an unpredictable brilliance. That is why your kind endures, why you survive where others fail." Alex smiled, still catching his breath. "I couldn't have done it without you. Without your guidance, I'd be lost down here." Lyra shook her head. "No, you were the key. I could guide, but it was your creativity, your courage, your willingness to act when others hesitate, that made the difference." Alex realized she was right. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy. Others saw physical weakness, emotional unpredictability, or small numbers. But humans had something the intruders could not anticipate: ingenuity, courage, and the ability to act decisively when the situation demanded it. They walked through the cavern, the pulse of the core steady beneath their feet. Alex marveled at the Guardians, now moving with purpose and energy. He had helped unlock their potential, and in doing so, he had proven the value of his species. As they emerged back toward the surface, Alex looked out at the twin moons over Zethara 7. The planet was still dangerous, still mysterious, but he felt a surge of hope. Humans could adapt, could survive, and could triumph even in the most alien and hostile environments. Lyra turned to him, her glow softening. "This is only the beginning. The planet still holds secrets, but now we are prepared. And you, human, have shown what your kind is capable of. Courage, ingenuity, and the will to act, those are your greatest strengths." Alex nodded, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment he had never experienced before. He had faced the unknown, guided alien guardians, and defended an entire planet from an unimaginable threat. And through it all, he realized that humans were not just survivors. They were pioneers, innovators, and heroes when it mattered most. As the first rays of the distant suns broke across the horizon, Alex knew that he and Lyra would continue their work, exploring the planet's mysteries, defending it from dangers yet unseen, and proving to the galaxy that humans were a force to be reckoned with. He smiled faintly. "Then let's see what else this planet has in store." Lyra's eyes glimmered. "Indeed, and we will face it together. With your kind, there is no limit to what we can achieve." Alex felt the truth of her words deep in his core. Humans were unpredictable, fearless, and capable of the extraordinary. And today, on Zethara 7, they had proven it. The adventure was far from over, but for now, victory was theirs, and humanity had shown the galaxy why it would endure, no matter the odds.